Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello class, how are you? I hope you're fine there. We're group 4 want to having a presentation about rhythm and word stress in English. The member of our group there are Natasya, Yumna Salma, Muhammad Syauqi, Muhammad Arkan, Reihan Fachriza, and Cindy Maura. The first topic is about the rhythm of English. The rhythm of English. What is rhythm? Rhythm is musicality of the English, up and down, and the connected speech in the linking of words that changes how we say sentences. Rhythm is essential to being understood when speak with others. And rhythm comes from the combination of syllable stress and word stress. So, what is stress? Stressing means that speaker of English make certain syllable and words louder, longer, and higher in pitch. For example, engineer, engineer, English, English, photograph, photograph. For example, hear these bits in English utterance such as I have to go to school. Here the bits are on have, go, and school. In this utterance, no bits fall on the function word because English, unlike certain other languages, is stress time. The rhythmic bits fall only on stress syllable. So, what is function word? Rhythm in sentence requires distressing. In English, we distress the non-essential word in a sentence called function word. This word made weaker and sometimes practically disappear from the sentence. Function words include articles, conjunction, preposition, pronouns, and auxiliary verbs. In English, there are metrical foot, that is consists of a stressed syllable followed by 0 or more unstressed syllable. For example, wire, wire, trouble, trouble, burn, burn, bubble, bubble.
English word stress. Is it entirely random? What is word stress? Word stress is the emphasis we place in a specific syllable of a word when pronouncing it. In English words that have more than one syllable, we usually don't pronounce every syllable with the same weight. So, each syllable in a word can be stressed or unstressed. In English, not all syllables have the same power or strength. We say one syllable very loudly. For example, big, strong, mad, etc. Syllables in English words don't all have the same level of loudness. Some are loud, some are short and quiet. Some are in between. English has 3 levels of stress. The first one is primary stress, the loudest syllable in the word. In one syllable words, that one syllable has the primary stress, except for a handful of short functions words, like the, which might not have any stress at all. Primary stress is marked in IPA by putting a raised vertical line at the beginning of the syllable. Examples: blue, 10. Secondary stress. Syllables which aren't completely unstressed, but aren't as loud as the primary stress. Secondary stress is marked with a lowered vertical line at the beginning of the syllable. Examples: disappear. It pronounced disappear, which is syllable with secondary stress is underlined. And then unstressed syllables. Syllables that have no stress at all. In English, almost all of these have schwa for their vowel, though I will also often be unstressed, like the I in happy. Very rarely another non-schwa vowel might be unstressed, like the O of potato for most speakers. Example: Prepare. Unstressed syllable is underlined. There are only two consistent, reliable rules about word stress in English. The first one, only the vowel sound within a syllable is stressed. Stress is not applied to consonant sounds. Second, any given word, even one with many syllables, will only have one syllable that receives the primary stress in speech. Some longer words also receive a secondary stress, which we'll look at more closely further on. By definition, single-syllable words only ever have a single stress, though certain function words can be unstressed altogether, which we will discuss later. However, determining which syllable is emphasized in a given word is not always straightforward, as a word's spelling is usually not enough on its own to let us know the appropriate stress. There are a few general conventions that can help make this easier to determine, but there are many exceptions and anomalies for each.
Next is English word stress, some general principles. The first general principle is the end-based principle, is that the placement of the primary stresses in English words is calculated by counting from the end of the word. The primary stress in a word will tend to fall on either three of these positions. First is the final syllable of the word, like entertain, entertain. The second example is resurrect, resurrect. If the final syllable contains a long vowel or diphthong, like entertain, entertain, or ends with more than one consonant, like resurrect, that final syllable will be stressed. Second is the penultimate or second last syllable, like revelation, revelation. And the last one is the antepenultimate or third last syllable, as in America, America. Most varieties of English have word stress patterns which are essentially trochaic. Trochaic is derived from the noun trochee, which means a stressed syllable, whether primary stressed or secondary stressed. The second general principle is called the rhythmic principle. Is that while it is possible for English words to end with as many as 4 unstressed syllables, as in ungentlemanliness, English words cannot begin with more than one unstressed syllable. When we derive the word Japanese from the word Japan, the primary stress shifts from the final syllable of Japan onto the final syllable of Japanese. But if we shift the primary stress, we cannot leave the word Japanese with a sequence of 2 unstressed syllables coming before the primary stressed syllable. So, we must place a secondary stress on one of the 2 preceding syllables, so it becomes Japanese. The third one is the derivational principle. There is a tendency to place the secondary stress on the syllable which had primary stress in the deriving word. The word characterization exhibits a shift of a primary stress from its deriving word characterize, which itself derived from character. The derivational principle says that we ought to place it on the syllable which had primary stress in the deriving word, so it becomes characterization. The fourth principle is called the stress clash avoidance principle. It states that one should try to avoid having 2 adjacent stressed syllables. The primary stress in the deriving word Japan falls on the final syllable. Principle 3 dictates that we place the secondary stress on that syllable, but Principle 4 dictates that we do not, since it would result in a stress clash with 2 adjacent stressed syllables, so it becomes Japanese. When the derivational principle and the stress class avoidance principle come into conflict, it is the stress class avoidance principle which predominates. In a word like Japanese, you place the secondary stress on the antepenultimate syllable in order to satisfy the stress class avoidance constraint because it is a strong general tendency in English.
Word stress assignment in morphologically simple words. We will distinguish words of a lexical category from words of a non-lexical category. Words of a lexical category are nouns, verbs, adjective, and adverbs. Words of a non-lexical category include preposition, determiners, pronouns, and the conjunction "and". Words of a non-lexical category, often referred to as function words, are not normally stressed. Among the words of a lexical category, primary stress placement may vary depending on the syntactic category of the word. Morphologically simple bisyllabic words. Bisyllabic nouns. The basic pattern here is with primary stress on the penultimate syllable, as in Arab, carpet, female, harbor, lemon, market. However, there is a substantial class of exceptions to this basic pattern, in which bisyllabic nouns have final stress. Among these are nouns which have been borrowed from other languages and are written with a double vowel letter, as in balloon, canteen, harpoon. Bisyllabic adjective. The basic pattern is trochaic, i.e., with stress on penult, as in angry, brilliant, central, crazy, fragile, frigid. The trochaic pattern can also be found in morphologically simple bisyllabic adjective ending in ic, as in cosmic, frantic, Nordic, static. However, there are bisyllabic adjectives with final stress such as complete, immense, and intense. Bisyllabic adverbs. The basic pattern is trochaic. Many bisyllabic adverbs end in ly, as in slowly and quickly. Other adverbs which do not end in ly include rather and very. These also have a trochaic stress pattern. Bisyllabic verbs. The basic trochaic tendencies in most varieties of English is much less evident in bisyllabic verbs, where the verb takes final stress, but the noun takes the normal trochaic penultimate stress. It, it, it is also worth noting that bisyllabic verbs ending in "ate" will take primary stress on the "ate", as in create, deflate, locate. These have to be distinguished from "ate" words with three or more syllables. Morphologically simple polysyllabic words. Polysyllabic nouns. Polysyllabic nouns is a word of more than two syllables. This means having primary stress on the antepenultimate syllable, as in camera, cinema, elephant. Among these are nouns which have final syllables, which are written with a double vowel letter, as in kangaroo. There is a set nouns which have consonant clusters after the penultimate vowels, and these have penultimate primary stress, as in advantage, apartment, disaster, adjective. Polysyllabic adjective. The basic pattern is trochaic, with antepenultimate stress, as in general, intelligent, juvenile. However, there is a set of adjectives with a consonant cluster after the penultimate vowel, and these take penultimate stress, as in dependent, disastrous, momentous. Polysyllabic verbs. As with bisyllabic verb, polysyllabic verb often float the basic trochaic English word stress pattern. These are many verbs with three or more syllables which have final primary stress, as in entertain, intervene, intersect. Unlike bisyllabic verbs ending in "ate", polysyllabic verb ending in "ate" follow the basic antepenultimate primary stress pattern, as in elaborate, investigate, originate. These verbs thus have the same stress pattern as polysyllabic adjective ending in "ate".
Word stress assignment in morphological structure. In morphological structure, English has both suffix and prefix. Suffix is an sorted with the ed suffix, and prefix as in direct with the prefix n. Let us begin with suffix. Suffix may be subdivided into inflectional and derivational suffix. The addition of an inflectional suffix is often said to produce a different form of the word one would have if the suffix had not been added. But when a derivational suffix is added to a word, it is said to produce not a different form of the same word, but another word. Among the English derivational suffix, some have no effect on stress when added to a word, while others do affect the stress pattern. These two classes of suffix are referred to as the stress neutral and stress shifting suffix. Stress neutral suffix. Most native suffixes are stress neutral, which means that they do not influence the positions of the main stress of the base words which they add on, or which they adjoin. The suffix adverbial includes suffix "ly", as in the words brightly, deeply, dimly, madly, quickly, slowly, truly, and many others. We can see here that the stress does not shift when the suffix is added to the monosyllabic adjective from which the adverb is derived. The stress pattern of these adverbs is the basic trochaic pattern of English bisyllabic words, or stress on the penultimate syllable. The primary stress remains where it was in adjective. Stress shifting suffix. Stress shifting suffix occurs when the primary stress of the word should be located on the last stressable syllable preceding the suffix. And among the stress shifting derivational suffix, we may distinguish between those on which the primary stress falls. The suffix e, ear, and is all take primary stress, as in word employee be employee, mountain to be mountaineer, and computer be computerist. Examples of stress shifting suffix which do not themselves take primary stress are ed and ig, as in personal to be personality, individual be individuality, atom be atomic, and monarch be monarchic. In each case, the primary stress falls on the syllable immediately preceding the stress shifting suffix, and those which shift the stress within the base from to which the suffix is attached. Another example of shifting suffix are able, as in the words apply to be applicable, remark be remarkable, and many others. Word stress patterns and prefixes. The syllable stress is often determined by the prefixes and suffixes that have been added to the basic form of the word. These are added at the beginning and at the end of the words, and they change the meaning of the original word. We will take the view that the most separable monosyllabic prefixes bear secondary stress. We mean that if the prefixes are removed, we are left with an existing English word, as in the verbs re-locate, re-fabricate, re-run, re-skill, and re-spray. The example of common prefixes are a, an, be, in, pro, ex, op, and this. Prefixes are usually not stressed. Instead, the first syllable of the base form of the words is stressed. For example, ando, restate, and inside.
The last one is compound words. Compound words are, put simply, words which can be analyzed as consisting of two or more words, rather than as containing a base and an affix. For instance, well, molehill is a compound, but boldness is not. The verb ness is a suffix, not a word. The compound words stress rule in English of two parts compounds of the two elements The first is the most prominent. The word compound thus have the opposite pattern to two word phrases, such as the noun phrases blackbird, actually a bird which is black. The adjective phrase is very tall. Verb phrase such as kissed Mary. Adverb phrase such as very slowly. And prepositional phrase such as into London. Example of compound which have the regular compound stress pattern with the first element the most prominent are atom bomb, backdrop, blackbird, car park, classroom, comeback, corkscrew, and darkroom. How can we tell whether a given two-word sequence is a compound or a phrase when the two parts are written as one word, example flower pot, or with a hyphen, example atom bomb? It is easy to see that one is dealing with a compound, but if the two parts are written as separated words, for example grammar school, it's less easy. In many cases, compounds have different kind of semantic from phrases. Take the phrases black bird, dark room, and greenhouse. Compare their meaning with the compound blackbirds, dark rooms, and greenhouse. While all blackbirds are blackbirds, not all blackbirds phrase are blackbirds compounds. For example, ravens, jackdaws, and cormorants are blackbirds phrase, but they are not blackbirds compound. While all dark rooms are rooms which are normally dark, not all dark rooms are dark rooms or places for developing photographs. For example, if I close the shutters and switch off the lights in my study, it becomes a dark room's press, but not a dark room's compound. A greenhouse press is a house which is painted green, but a greenhouse compound is not a house and may be painted white. It seems likely that in the history of English, compound started off a press. A blackbird is indeed black, a dark room is indeed normally dark, and a greenhouse is a hole-shaped structure where one grows green things, but such press have made the transition to becoming single words. Exception to the compound stress rule. A. Two parts place names such as Botany Bay, Buckingham Palace, East Anglia, and Los Angeles. These include street names, for example, Blackberry Way, Fifth Avenue, and London Road. The only exception to this are large number of street names ending in the word street, for example, in my hometown of Edinburgh. There are sets of compound which systematically violates the compound stress rule. B. Compounds with a participle second element ending with "-ed", "-n", or "-ing". The "-ed" compounds are more common than the latter. Many of these are based on parts of the body, and some of these are more metaphorical than others. For example, bare-faced, big-eared, big-head, dim-witted, double-jointed, clean-shaven, long-proven, soft-spoken, clear-thinking, far-reaching, and good-looking. C. Compounds in which the first part expresses what the object is made from. Examples are apple pie, brick wall, and cotton sock. D. Compounds in which some kind of concrete or abstract positioning is involved. For example, are April showers, evening meal, middle class. E. Compounds which are two parts color words. For example, dark green, deep yellow, light green, and pale blue. And the last one is F. Compounds derived from phrasal verbs. Examples are compounds non derived from phrasal verbs are checker out, from check out, hanger on from hang on, and passerby from pass by.